The markets are closed, but the business stories are just heating up. Hello, I'm Raine Musñgi. This is Newsfeed Business, our business headlines. Philippine shares dip on the first trading day of the week after Wall Street rallied ahead of President-elect Donald Trump's inauguration. The PSEi index was down by less than 0.1%, closing at 63.49 and finishing the day as the third worst performer in Asia. Sectoral indices ended mixed, with financials rising the most at almost 0.8%. Property, meanwhile, declined the most, falling nearly 2%. Decliners narrowly outpaced advancers 105 to 98. Total value turnover stood at a slim 3.8 billion pesos. The day's most active stocks also ended mixed. Synergy Grid and Development had the biggest gain, rising at almost 5%. Ayala Land, meanwhile, declined the most, falling at more than 2%. Now, also on Monday, the dollar was firm. The peso slightly stronger nearing the close, and Asia's stock markets were cautiously positive. That's as investors waited for an expected flurry of policy announcements in the first hours of Donald Trump's second presidency. A rate hike is also expected in Japan at the end of the week. The Philippine economy is on track for continued growth through 2026. The International Monetary Fund's latest World Economic Outlook projects steady economic expansion for the country. The IMF expects the Philippine gross domestic product, or GDP, to grow by 6.1% this year and 6.3% in 2026. That's driven by strong domestic demand. However, it warns of risks that could disrupt this growth, including volatile commodity prices, supply chain shocks, and geopolitical tensions. The IMF on Friday slightly upgraded its global growth forecast as well in 2025 to 3.3%, 0.1% up from its projection in October last year. The updated report also projected global inflation to decline to 4.2% this year and 3.5% in 2026. The Philippine economy may miss its growth target for 2024. Finance Secretary Ralph Recto says full-year GDP growth could fall below 6%, blaming the impact on recent typhoons on economic activity. This falls short of the government's 6 to 7% target set for the year. But Recto says there's still room for optimism, projecting a stronger rebound in 2025, with a 6 to 8% growth target still within reach. Government spending will slow down in early 2025 due to the election ban on public works and budget adjustments. Budget Department Assistant Secretary Romeo Balangkit says starting March 28, 45 days before the May 12 elections, the Commission on Elections will temporarily halt government projects like road repairs and school construction. During this period, cash aid programs will also be suspended. This means some infrastructure projects may face delays, and financial assistance won't reach beneficiaries until after the elections. Businesses relying on government contracts could see a temporary slowdown, affecting jobs, supply chains, and economic activity. But this is only temporary. Once the election ban is lifted, spending on projects and aid distribution will resume, boosting the economy in the second half of the year. The Philippines' external debt payments jumped nearly 20%, hitting $14.5 billion as of October. Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas data shows this is a sharp increase from $12.1 billion paid during the same period in 2023. According to Rizal Commercial Banking Corporation Chief Economist Michael Ricafort, the government took on more debt to cover widening budget deficits. Higher debt payments could mean less funding for infrastructure and social services. It also puts pressure on the peso as more dollars go toward paying foreign loans. Finance Secretary Ralph Recto says the government is prioritizing local borrowing with an 80-20 mix, favoring domestic over foreign sources. He noted This approach reduces exposure to volatile foreign exchange rates and supports local market liquidity. Malacanang slams what it calls fake news that President Ferdinand Marcos Jr. signed the budget with intentionally blank sections. This came after former President Rodrigo Duterte and Davao City 3rd District Representative Isidro Ungab claims that 13 pages of the budget included items with blank appropriations. Executive Secretary Lucas Bersamin refers the peddling of false information as malicious. It should be condemned as criminal. He explains that no page of the 2025 budget was left unturned before President Marcos signed it into law. Motorists should brace for a big-time oil price hike starting tomorrow, Tuesday, January 21st. Industry projections show diesel prices may surge by up to 2 pesos and 60 centavos per liter. Kerosene could rise by as much as 2 pesos and 50 centavos per liter, while gasoline prices are expected to go up by over 1 peso per liter. The Department of Energy says the price hike is driven by new sanctions from the U.S. and the U.K. targeting Russian oil companies. This will push transport and production costs higher, impacting prices of goods and services. And here's a quick wrap of all the corporate stories that may be moving the markets, or rather, may have moved the markets today. Maynilad Water Services has pipelined more than 31 billion pesos for capital expenditures, the biggest capital investment for the company since its privatization in 1997. The budget, it said, would be used primarily for the company's water and wastewater projects, as well as support its non-revenue water reduction program. Meanwhile, property developer Double Dragon is beefing up its war chest. Capital-raising activities worth 51.3 billion pesos are planned for this year, the largest equity increase to be generated in the firm's 13-year history. Chairman and CEO Injapsia expects Hotel 101's global U.S. equity listing and equity follow-on, and the Central Hub REIT listing to raise the funds. Semirara Mining and Power Corp of Tycoon Isidro Consunji is spending around 6.9 billion pesos this year to boost its coal fleet and fuel its power generation business. The capital expenditure this year is slightly higher than SMPC's forecast budget of 6.6 billion in 2024. And finally, infrastructure builder Megawide Construction is set to open its bus rapid transit system in Cavite by September. Megawide Chairman, President, and CEO Edgar Saavedra said the Cavite BRT system, which his company will be building, can serve at least 10,000 passengers every day and cut travel time between Metro Manila and Cavite by half. And before we go to Gap, here are today's market winners and losers. Welcome back. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump promises a new era of American prosperity as he prepares to take office. Speaking to thousands of supporters at the Washington Arena, Trump laid out his vision just a day before returning to the White House for his second term. He vowed to take swift action in immigration and trade policies, signaling a tougher stance on border security and a push for America First trade deals.
With so many friends, supporters, and true American patriots on the eve of taking back our country, that's what we're going to do, take back our country. Tomorrow at noon, the curtain closes on 4 long years of American decline, and we begin a brand new day of American strength and prosperity, dignity and pride. Bringing it all back. Once and for all, we're going to end the reign of a failed and corrupt political establishment in Washington, a failed administration. We're not going to take it anymore. We're going to stop the invasion of our borders. We're going to reclaim our wealth. We're going to unlock the liquid gold that's right under our feet, liquid gold. We're going to bring back law and order to our cities. We're going to restore patriotism to our schools, get radical left, woke ideologies the hell out of our military and out of our government. And we are going to make America great again.
Bloomberg reports Trump is poised to invoke emergency powers as part of his plan to unleash domestic energy production while seeking to reverse President Joe Biden's actions to combat climate change. U.S. President-elect Trump promising a brand new day in America as the clock ticks down to his inauguration. Trump took a victory lap inside a packed Washington arena a day before he officially returned to the White House. Again, he vowed to usher in a new era of American prosperity by aggressively reshaping the U.S. immigration and trade policy.
With so many friends, supporters, and true American patriots on the eve of taking back our country, that's what we're going to do, take back our country. Tomorrow at noon, the curtain closes on 4 long years of American decline, and we begin a brand new day of American strength.
Well, as Trump basks in the glory of his return to power, some are protesting his anti-immigration measures. In Tijuana, migrant rights groups spanked a piñata bearing Trump's image along the U.S.-Mexico border wall. They also hung banners protesting Trump's potential restrictive actions. Demonstrators are urging Trump not to terminate the CBP-1 program, which facilitates asylum applications in the U.S. It seems to be a long shot, though, as Trump vowed to launch a mass deportation operation on his first day in office. Well, U.S. President Joe Biden urged despondent fellow Democrats not to give up hope. He received a standing ovation after speaking before the South Carolina's Black church-going community to mark the final full day of his presidency on Sunday. Biden alluded to bitter political disappointment following his withdrawal last summer in the race for a second term in office over concerns about his age and performance on the campaign trail, but suggested he intended to stay in the public eye after his term ends.
I'm in no ways tired.
We entered office facing one of the toughest periods in our history. We came out sooner by doing the work to beat the pandemic, to build the strongest economy in the world with some of the most significant investments ever made in all of American history, particularly for Black America, to address the sting of systemic racism and advancing racial equality in all we do, including executive action and police reform, to protect fundamental rights and freedoms, from the freedom to vote to the freedom to choose, to reassert America's leadership in the world, including our intense efforts that led to the release of hostages and a ceasefire war in Gaza and the end of the war between Israel and Hamas. We're proving that by remembering our history, we can make history. We know the battle for the soul of America continues. In this moment of strength of our institutions and democracy, the presidency, the Congress, the courts, a free and independent press, and yes, our institutions and our communities like this museum, they matter more than ever to tell the truth of our nation, to stand up to what my dad said the worst of all sins was the abuse of power, and ensure everyone gets a fair shot. That's what it's all about. We must hold on to hope. We must stay engaged. We must always keep the faith in a better day to come. I'm not going anywhere.
Wow, TikTok users in the U.S. face confusion after the popular app went dark, then claimed it's back online. TikTok says it is restoring service after President-elect Trump announced he would lift the ban when he takes office. But many users in the U.S. still cannot open the app, while others report they can access it through its website. TikTok shut down for 170 million American users late Saturday, just before a U.S. law blocking the app over national security concerns took effect. Washington officials say ByteDance, TikTok's Chinese parent company, poses a risk of data misuse. Finally, on the lighter side, Japan's largest jewelry fair in Tokyo, rich with shining gold and pearls, has concluded after attracting strong interest from buyers amid rising prices and renewed appreciation for these precious commodities. 650 exhibiting companies showcased over 1.3 million items. 23,000 buyers from both domestic and international markets were in awe. High-end diamonds and gemstones grabbed the most attention at the four-day event, captivating attendees, including many jewelry companies and buyers from South Asia and Southeast Asia. Amid soaring international gold prices and a significant depreciation of the yen, domestic gold prices in Japan have risen sharply.
Not just as adornment, but also as an asset. Heavier necklaces and gold coins are selling particularly well.
Koya pearl, known for its high quality and reputation in Japan, was a major draw for buyers at the exhibition. Since last year, the demand for large pearls, particularly those measuring 7 to 8 millimeters in diameter, has surged globally. During the exhibition, daily sales of these large pearls range from about 64,000 to 130,000 US dollars.
Pearl prices have nearly doubled compared to 2 or 3 years ago. The production of pearls is heavily influenced by environmental factors. Some years see high yields, while others do not. Increased demand also drives prices up, making future trends uncertain. However, we expect prices to remain high this year.
And that's a wrap for today's Newsfeed Business. Thank you so much for making us your daily source of financial insights. I'm Raine Musñgi. Join us again tomorrow as we bring you the stories that help you plan your next big, bold moves in business, only here on the Bilyonaryo News Channel, always on time.